The signal that shouldn't have been heard. It was quiet in the deep corner of the Sarnak expanse. No ships traveled there. No trade passed through. The stars in that region were cold, distant, and forgotten. But then, a signal was sent. The message was old, broken, and desperate. A simple SOS. It repeated in every common language used in the galaxy, and in some that had been forgotten. It begged for help. It cried out for aid. And most importantly, it came from a system that was supposed to be dead. The Galactic Council received the signal first. They studied it, debated it, then ignored it. Too dangerous, they said. Too far. Too uncertain. No one had ever come back from that sector. So as always, they turned their eyes away. But someone else was listening. On Earth, in a quiet command center under the surface, a team of humans had also picked up the signal. They didn't ask the Council. They didn't form a committee. They just responded. Captain Dale was the first to speak when the signal arrived. "Is this real?" he asked, looking at the screen. "Yes, sir," replied the young technician. "It's bouncing through old communication relays, ancient tech. But the pattern is clear. It's an emergency call." Dale didn't hesitate. "Prep the Solstice. We're going." The Solstice was not the largest human ship, but it was the most advanced. Quiet, fast, and armed with tech the Council didn't even know existed. It ran on systems designed after the First Contact War, when humanity learned they were not welcome among the stars. Since then, Earth had watched the galaxy quietly, observing, advancing, preparing. They had not forgotten how the Council ignored their cries for peace, or how human colonies were denied protection. Earth had become silent but not weak. Now something had changed. Within hours, the Solstice jumped through the edge of the Sarnak expanse. They followed the signal's trail deeper and deeper into space where even light dared not stay for long. As they moved closer, strange things began to happen. The signal changed. At first it grew stronger, then weaker. It danced between languages, some unknown to Earth's database. The stars around them seemed dimmer, not because of distance, but as if something had taken their shine. Dale stood on the bridge, staring at the growing darkness outside. "This place doesn't feel right," whispered one of the crew. "It's not supposed to," Dale replied. "But we're here now. We answer calls for help, no matter where from." Behind them, Earth Command listened in, silent, focused, and across the galaxy, other races noticed the human ship had moved. They watched quietly, some with fear, some with curiosity. But when they saw where the ship was going, into the dead zone, they all stopped speaking. They had heard of that place. They had legends. They had warnings passed down from long ago. Do not enter. Do not respond. Let the signal die. But humanity didn't believe in fear passed from whispers. The Solstice dropped out of warp near a shattered planet. The planet had been torn apart, its pieces floating like jagged teeth around a dying red sun. Orbiting the wreckage was a single station, barely alive, sending the weak SOS like a heartbeat. "Scan it," Dale ordered. "Life signs. Faint. One human signature." "Possibly," the tech replied. "Could be old data. Could be a trap." Dale nodded. "Or it could be someone who needs help." He turned to his crew. "Gear up. We go in 5. Far across the stars, the Council received the update. Humanity had responded. The message was answered. And now, the galaxy waited to see what would follow. Because whenever humans answered a call, silence followed. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of power. The Station of Shadows. Solstice floated like a ghost above the broken world. The remains of the planet below glowed faintly, cracked from some ancient disaster. The station ahead was small, silent, and covered in scars from debris and time. Dale stood in the drop chamber with 3 others. Each wore a sleek black suit, lightweight but strong enough to walk through fire or vacuum. Their helmets glowed with a dull blue ring. No words were needed now. They had trained for this kind of mission too many times. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and the boarding craft detached. It flew forward slowly, approaching the station's docking ring. The place looked like it hadn't been touched in hundreds of years. "No weapons online," said the pilot. "No defense systems, we're clear." The docking latch clicked, and the hatch opened with a groan. The team stepped in. Darkness swallowed them. Only the lights from their helmets lit the corridor. Wires hung from the ceiling. The walls were covered in scorch marks. Dried fluid stained the floor. No signs of battle, just abandonment and decay. "This place wasn't just hit," said one of the crew softly. "It was forgotten." "Split up," Dale ordered. "2 to the command deck. 2 with me. We head toward the signal source." The hallway led downward, toward the station's core. Each step echoed through the empty metal halls, and with every step the signal grew louder. Then they found it. A door stood half open. Behind it the lights flickered. Dale pushed it fully open. The room inside was once a medical bay. Now it was a tomb. Empty beds, broken monitors, shattered glass. In the corner, slumped against the wall, was a figure in a faded spacesuit. "Life signs weak," said the tech beside him. "But they're human, somehow." Dale knelt down. He touched the helmet. The figure flinched. Alive. He opened a direct channel. "This is Captain Dale of the Solstice. We received your SOS. You're safe now." The helmet visor slowly lifted. Inside was a woman, pale, eyes wide with shock, barely able to speak. You came," she whispered. "After so long. Someone came." Dale nodded. "We're here. Let's get you out." As he helped her up, she grabbed his arm tightly. "No. You don't understand," she gasped. "You shouldn't have come. They'll hear you." "They?" Her eyes filled with terror. "The ones that silenced this system? They wait in the dark, watching, listening. They don't like noise, or light, or life." Dale looked at his crew. No one spoke. Above them, the team on the command deck tried to access the logs. Suddenly, every screen on the station flashed at once. Then, the signal stopped. The SOS was gone. Instead, a new transmission echoed through space, low, deep, and not in any known language. It wasn't a call for help. It was a warning. Far above, in orbit, the Solstice picked up something moving in the distance. No engines, no heat, just mass drifting closer. The woman in the suit trembled. "It's too late. They know you're here." Dale looked into the black beyond the station's window. Something moved out there. Something vast. And then, like the stars had been blinked out, the galaxy went silent. Whispers in the void, the lights on the station flickered one last time, then died completely. Total darkness swallowed the crew. Inside his helmet, Dale's heads-up display lit up with warnings. Unknown signal detected. External movement approaching. "Powers down," one of the crew whispered. "But our suits are still active." The woman leaned against the wall, shaking. "They took the light last time, then the air, then everything else." "Who?" Dale asked. "What are they?" She looked up. Her voice was a whisper. "We called them the Watchers. Not a name. They don't have one. They never spoke. They just came." A loud thump echoed from the metal above them. Something had touched the station. Back on the Solstice, the bridge was chaos. Sensors picked up massive objects moving without any form of propulsion. No heat, no energy. Just shapes cold and dark sliding through space toward them. "They're surrounding the station," said the officer at the screen. "At least 5, maybe more." And then, the comms went dead. Every open channel turned to static. Not even noise, just emptiness. Inside the station, the silence was crushing. Even their own breathing seemed too loud. Dale tapped his comms. "Solstice, respond." No answer. He looked at the woman. "What do they want?" She shook her head. "Not, want, they just erase. They see movement, light, thought, as threats. We studied an artifact years ago. Something we shouldn't have touched, it called them." "Why were you left here?" asked the tech beside Dale. "I don't know. I was in cryo when the others died. Maybe the cold hid me, or maybe they let me live." To send the signal. A sharp scraping sound tore through the hallway behind them. Dale turned fast. "Weapons ready. Move back to the airlock. Now." They moved in formation. Slow, steady steps, watching every corner. Another sound, like fingers dragging across the metal walls. Then a shape appeared. Black. Moving like smoke, yet solid. No defined form. Just emptiness. "Open fire!" Dale shouted. Pulses of blue energy lit the hallway. But the creature didn't flinch. It passed through the shots like they weren't even there. Then it stopped. It turned, if that could be called turning, toward them. And from nowhere, their suit lights blinked out, one by one. The last thing Dale saw was the creature expanding, swallowing the hall in shadow. Then, light, pure, blinding light. The emergency beacon from the solstice flared through the station windows. A rescue trigger, full burn. The creature recoiled. The dark bent away. Dale's comms clicked back on. "Captain, we've locked onto your beacon. Evac shuttle en route, 30 seconds. He grabbed the woman. "Move." They ran. Behind them, the darkness returned, slower now, like it had been hurt, but not destroyed. As they reached the airlock, Dale turned back one last time. The blackness watched them, not with eyes, but it watched. They flew back to the solstice. The door shut. Dale looked out the window at the station one last time. The SOS station, silent now. No more lights, no more movement, and far in the distance, the dark shapes retreated, for now. A darkness older than time. The solstice retreated from the dead system, engines humming low as if afraid to make too much noise. Inside, the crew sat in tense silence. No one celebrated, no one relaxed. The woman they had rescued lay in the medbay, asleep, her vitals steady but fragile. Dale stood in the strategy room staring at the recordings. The black shapes had no heat signature, no energy output. They moved like shadows but reacted to light. Sound and motion, they didn't communicate, they didn't chase. They simply appeared and erased. The tech officer broke the silence. "We ran scans of the station logs. The signal had been broadcasting for 217 years. No replies. Until us." Dale frowned. "Who built that station?" "The records say it was human. One of the first deep space science teams, sent centuries ago. They were studying something near the core of the sector, a strange gravity fluctuation." He zoomed into the data. "They found an artifact buried in an asteroid, unmarked, no writing, just humming, like it was waiting." Dale turned sharply. "And when they touched it, they triggered something, maybe a defense system, or a call. Whatever those things are, they didn't come to kill. They came to silence, like the artifact itself was a lock, and they were the seal." Across the galaxy, strange things were happening. On several fringe colonies, power stations failed without reason. Ships vanished without distress signals. Entire asteroid fields lost their orbital spin, as if something massive passed nearby and disturbed the natural pull. But the Council didn't warn anyone. They stayed silent. They watched. They had seen this before. Long ago, when their oldest homeworlds went dark. When civilizations disappeared overnight. They never talked about. Chaos only passed down warnings. Do not respond to the deep ones, do not chase silence, let the dark sleep. But now humanity had answered. Back on Earth, a private meeting took place in a bunker beneath the Antarctic ice. Generals, scientists, historians. They reviewed the data from Solstice, the woman's testimony, the strange life signs, the artifacts, design. "It's not alien," one of the scientists said, "or not in the way we understand. It predates the current cycle of the galaxy, maybe predates matter itself. These entities, they're like gravity wrapped in thought, a law, not a life form." The general leaned forward. "Can they be stopped?" A long pause. Maybe not stopped, but kept away. They hate light, noise, movement. We believe they view intelligence as a contamination, a disruption of their perfect void. So what do? The scientist took a breath. We either stay quiet or get louder. On the solstice, Dale stood before his crew. They say these things want silence, that we've broken something ancient. He looked at their faces, steady, brave. But we are human. We do not run from the dark. We shine into it. We break it. We challenge it. He turned to the pilot. Set a course. We're going back. Shock passed through the room. Sir, we're taking that artifact with us. If it's a key, we'll find the door. If it's a lock, we'll seal it again. But we don't leave threats hiding in the dark. Not anymore. As the engines came alive, far beyond the ship's sensors, the black shapes drifted once again, silent, waiting, and somewhere, deep in the galaxy, something opened its eyes. Into the maw. The solstice returned to the edge of the Sarnak expanse under full stealth. Its hull temperature dropped to near zero, lights were dimmed to a whisper, and comms were locked tight. Every crew member moved with precision. They were not charging into battle. They were slipping into the dark to hunt something that did not want to be found. Dale stood at the observation window as the shattered planet came back into view. The station was still there, lifeless, no sign of the creatures, no movement, no signal. We're ghosts in their world now, Dale said. Let's not knock louder than we need to. The artifact had been located in a hidden chamber beneath the station, buried deep in the lower deck, sealed behind a layer of ancient plating. Last time, they never reached it. This time, they came prepared. A 4-person squad, including Dale, boarded the station again. The woman they rescued, now known only as the survivor, watched them from the bridge of the solstice, her eyes fixed on the darkness. Why return? She had asked earlier. Dale answered with one word: closure. Inside the lower deck, the team reached the sealed chamber. It was untouched. Whatever had silenced the station hadn't bothered to destroy the artifact's vault, almost as if it was protecting it. The door slid open. The chamber was circular. The walls were smooth, made of metal that didn't reflect light. In the center sat the artifact, floating silently above a cracked platform. It looked like a cube, but not quite. Its edges were always shifting, always wrong. Looking at it too long gave a strange feeling, as if time bent around it. Dale stepped forward carefully. No readings, whispered the tech. It's not generating energy, not even gravity, but it's alive. Dale reached out slowly and touched it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a pulse. The station shook. The lights blinked. Across the ship, alarms triggered. Sir, came the voice from the solstice. Something's coming. In space, the black forms returned. This time there were more. Not 5. Not 10. Hundreds. They formed a ring around the system, drifting in silence. No weapons, no signals, just presence. A wall of nothing. Back on the station, the artifact's surface began to glow with faint lines, like veins waking up. The survivor's voice crackled over the channel. You woke it. You shouldn't have woken it. But Dale stood his ground. No, he said. I think it wants to speak. He placed a small amplifier near the cube. Let's give it a voice. Back on Earth, the transmission was received. Static. At first. Then, a message. One that echoed in every language at once. We were first. We were still. You moved. You spoke. You lit the dark. This cannot be. The message repeated, quieter each time. Then it stopped. Earth Command stared at the signal. They're not machines, one of the analysts said. They're principles. The universe before noise, before light, before time. And we've broken their sleep, someone whispered. Back. On the solstice, Dale lifted the artifact with care. It did not resist. He turned to the others. We're taking it with us. To Earth? One asked. No, Dale said. Somewhere else. Somewhere deeper. He looked at the cube. We woke the silence. Now we find out why it feared being disturbed. As they prepared to leave, the black forms watched but did not move, almost as if they were waiting to see what humanity would do next. What sleeps beneath? The solstice didn't return home. Instead, it vanished into a region mapped only in theory, a place where gravity folded in on itself and even light feared to pass. They called it the Hollow Veil, a system beyond the galactic rim. No planets, no stars, just a dark region where sensors failed, time slowed, and all signals were swallowed. This was where Dale believed the artifact belonged, not in a lab, not under a microscope, but at the root of the silence, the place where the Watchers may have come from. The survivor begged them not to go. They don't just live there, she said. That place is them. But Dale had already made his choice. If they're going to erase everything, he said, I'd rather walk into their world than wait for them to come for mine. Inside the solstice, the artifact pulsed faintly. Sometimes it whispered strange sounds, like wind through stone. Other times it hummed with a deep rhythm, like a heart trying to remember how to beat. The ship dropped out of warp on the edge of the Hollow Veil. Immediately, the screens blinked out. No stars, no sky, only the vast black. We're here, Dale said quietly. Begin the scan. No readings, Captain, the officer replied. Nothing at all. Then we go manual. A shuttle launched, carrying Dale, one tech, and the artifact. As they descended, the darkness thickened. Sensors, read flat lines. Time dragged, even thoughts felt slow. Then, they saw it. A shape. Not a station. Not a ship. A gate, massive and ancient. Formed from black stone and starlight, it hovered in the void like a wound in space. Symbols moved across its surface, not carved, but growing and fading like breath on glass. The artifact glowed stronger, in Dale's hands. It's reacting, the tech said. The gate opened, not with motion, but with silence. A silence that felt alive, like something watching, listening. They entered. Inside, the laws of the universe didn't apply. They saw places that could not exist. Mountains floating upside down, rivers made of memory, cities that folded in and out of time. In the center, suspended in a sphere of stillness, was a second artifact, larger, cracked, but identical in design. Dale floated closer. They were here first, he whispered. This is their domain, their rules. He placed the human-found artifact next to the larger one. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a voice filled the gate. Not sound. Not language, meaning, you are the spark, we are the dark. You broke the quiet. We must decide. Back on the solstice, alarms flared. The ship was being pulled inward, dragged toward the gate. All across the galaxy, the same dark creatures began to stir once more. Some moved toward human colonies. Others hovered above council worlds, not attacking, waiting. Because in the Hollow Veil, a decision was being made, and for the first time in recorded galactic history, humanity was at the center of it. The choice that echoed inside the Hollow Veil, time stopped. Captain Dale hovered before the great cracked artifact, the smaller one pulsing beside it. The silence was overwhelming, not peaceful but expectant, like the universe itself was holding its breath. Then a ripple spread through the void. Not seen but felt, a presence awoke. Not a being, not a god, not a machine, a will. It didn't speak with words. It pushed thoughts directly into their minds, powerful and ancient. We were before. You are now. You grow in noise. You burn in movement. You tear the stillness. Dale didn't back away. We grow because we must. We speak because we learn. We burn because we hope. The presence didn't respond, but it watched. Dale floated closer, heart steady. If you fear us, erase us. If you judge us, speak your terms. But if you came to silence us, then understand. We are not afraid of the dark. We are the light that defies it. For the first time, the cracked artifact glowed, softly, then brighter, and then it shattered. A shockwave passed through the hollow veil, not of sound but of understanding, knowledge, memory. The dark shapes across the galaxy froze. The Watchers, who had hovered silently for eons, began to pull back. Not destroyed, changed. Back on the solstice, systems came online. Lights returned. Time flowed normally. The ship was no longer being dragged. We're stable again, the pilot said, stunned. They're leaving? In every corner of the galaxy, the black shadows retreated into the void between stars. They did not speak. They did not attack. They simply let go. In the hollow veil, Dale returned to the shuttle. The artifact pieces floated behind him like stardust. We weren't supposed to win, the tech whispered. Dale shook his head. We didn't win. We showed them what we are. As they flew back to the solstice, the hollow veil began to fold in on itself, shrinking, fading, sealing. Whatever gate had opened was now closed. Weeks later, back on Earth, the survivor sat quietly in a garden on the moon base. She looked up at the stars, no longer afraid. Dale's final report was stored. Deep in the Terran archive, they were silence. We were noise. They were the first. We are the future. We did not destroy them. We reminded them why the stars learned to sing. And across the stars, the galaxy that once watched humanity in fear now watched in awe. Because when the universe cried out for help, it was the humans who answered. And when they answered, even the stars listened.